Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's International Fact-Checking Day. Tony, do you have facts about yourself that are in dispute?
Tony Kornheiser, no. I think it's well known that I'm a world-class tuba player, that I was Elizabeth Taylor's sixth husband, and I was acquitted of racketeering 3 times, and my nickname is Knuckles, right? Everybody knows that.
Whoa, wait a minute. I've also heard you dated Twiggy. Is that true?
Really? You've heard that? I'm not going to discuss that.
Yes.
I'm not going to divulge what Twiggy and I did. Come on, stop that. You know me better than that. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Dodgers win again. The NFL considers letting its stars play Olympic flag football, and Kendrick Perkins joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with 2 past MVPs having terrific scoring nights last night. Nikola Jokic had 61 points with 10 rebounds and 10 assists in a double overtime loss to Minnesota. And Steph Curry made 12 threes and scored 52 points in a 134-125 victory over Memphis in Memphis. Well, but I know you were jacked up watching these games. I got your text.
Yes.
Who had the most impressive performance, Jokic or Curry?
I've had hours and hours to think about this. I watched both these games. As you know, yes, I bothered you in the middle of your night texting. And I can't decide. If I had to decide, I may shock you a little bit and say Joker, but his team lost. Steph Curry led his team, and they needed every one of those points in that game. At Memphis, they needed every one of them to win that game, and they, like Denver, they're both playing for something. And, Tony, they were so great. Joker and Curry were so great. The part of the text conversation I was having in a thread with people who are twisted like I am and watch basketball every night, all night is, are these two playing their way into all-time greatness? In other words, the list we put together and say, oh, so-and-so is a top 10, 12, 15 player ever of all time. Are Joker and Curry now not just in the discussion, are they on the list? And I think Curry actually is, but that's for another time probably. But Tony, Joker, he does this and his team doesn't win these games, and it's sort of heartbreaking. As you know, you pointed out to me in a text right away that Joker's teams lose when he scores more than 50. They do. I'm going to say Joker narrowly, and I don't even have a reason why I'm answering that way. They were both great. They were thrilling.
Yeah, I'm going to draw a distinction here. If you were going to ask me which one would get my MVP vote, then it would be important to me which team won. Golden State won, and Denver lost. So my MVP vote would go for Curry, especially since winning that game against Memphis vaults them over Memphis and into 5th place in the Eastern Conference. So it's an impactful game. And
it was.
And also Curry shot great. He shot, I think, 12 for 20 from 3. But, and there's a but in this, Jokic's performance to me is actually more impressive. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. were not on the court.
That's right.
Okay, and Russell Westbrook at the end was very chaotic and probably lost the game. This guy was out there like Wilt. I'll take 15 more seconds. It's not just the 61 points. It's a 61-point triple-double. You know how many people have ever done that? Nobody is the answer. He played 52 minutes and 38 seconds of a 58-minute game. He's like Wilt. He's out there alone holding the fort. So to me, and I know his team lost, but it's not an MVP vote. To me, just last night, what he did was more impressive to me.
Tony, and no Porter and no Murray, as you said. That's a big deal. You're missing 2 starters.
Yes.
And they're just huge. One of the great nights to me, one of the great nights in my memory in NBA regular season basketball, and I ain't a prisoner of the moment either. It's still so early in the baseball season, but the Dodgers have yet to lose a game, and the Braves have yet to win one. L.A. beat Atlanta 3-1 last night to move to 7-0 and dropped the Braves to 0-6. Dusty May struck out the side in the first inning of his first appearance in nearly 2 years following Tommy John and a torn esophagus. Tony, which team's start is more newsworthy? Dodgers, Braves?
It's a tough question because the Dodgers are fabulous right now. They have now beaten both incumbent Cy Young pitchers. They beat Skubal, they beat Sale. They're starting 7-0, and the last team to win a World Series and start the next season 7-0, last time it happened, was the 1933 Yankees, and they had Gehrig and Ruth, who you might have heard of. So the Dodgers have been great. But more newsworthy is actually the Braves going 0-6. Mike, we both were in locker rooms for a living, and we know the losing locker room is the richer locker room in terms of doing stories. The Braves are missing some people. Ronald Acuna Jr., I believe, won't be back until May. Spencer Strider, I believe, won't be back till the end of this month. Max Fried won't be back at all because he left and he signed with the Yankees. But they are a perennial playoff team, the Braves. They've won it 7 years in a row. They've been in the playoffs, and they're in a very tough division. They won the World Series 4 years ago, so 0-6 is really a noteworthy start. I got numbers for you. I'll be brief on numbers. Their team batting average is the worst in the league. It's 137. They've scored 9 runs in 6 games. They've only got 2 runs in the last 4. They're batting .076 with runners on base, and they're 1 of 34 with runners in scoring position. Those numbers are historically awful. That's why it's the Braves.
But, Tone, the reason it's not the Braves is because they lost all those games to the Dodgers and the Padres. And the Dodgers and the Padres, I mean, they may be the 2 best teams in the National League, and it's a quirk of schedule. They start off with those teams, and they haven't even had a chance to get their footing and be at home. No, it's the Dodgers. You mentioned 1933 starting off 7-0. That's coming off a sweep of the Cubs in the 32 World Series. Not often we get to talk about the Cubs in any World Series. 32 World Series, 4-game sweep. Start the next season with 7. My God. End of season, start of season, 7-0. Ruth and Gehrig. When you compare to Ruth and Gehrig, that's like comparing somebody to Wilt. That's like we opened up comparing Nikola Jokic to Wilt. Yeah. When you go Ruth Gehrig, that's a mic drop. It's the Dodgers, Tone. The Braves are going to be okay. They got a lot of people missing, as you accurately point out, but they're going to recover from this. They're going to stagger back at some point. Better be quick.
Let's move to an Olympic story of sorts. The 2028 Olympics will be held in Los Angeles in the month of July. One of the sports will be flag football. Some of the people that want to play are Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has said a lot of players want to participate, and he hopes the NFL will have a decision on this in the next 60 days. Wilbon, should the NFL let its star players play in Olympic flag football?
Yes. It's a short, easy answer for me. Yes. If you're going to put this out there, part of the reason it's there is because the NFL will do anything to expand its footprint to be as international as soccer and basketball. That's the mission. That's a huge part of the NFL's agenda. We're not talking about domestically where the NFL is king. We're talking about internationally where it has no footprint compared to basketball and soccer. And that's the mission of being in the Olympics. I don't even want to see flag football or any football in the Olympics. I don't want to see any spring football. I don't want to see any summer football. I want to see no more football taking away from things like boxing. No, I don't. I don't want to see it at all. But if the NFL is going to put this out there as something to support, and if that game is going to be at the Olympics at all, then yes, NFL players should be in it, no doubt.
Yeah, let's understand something. These Olympics are going to be contested in July. Even with an 18-game schedule, there will be no NFL official games in July. So all you're going to miss is a little bit of training camp, which is really not that big a deal. Mike, to this point, football players have never had any expectation whatsoever of playing in the Olympics for their country. Basketball players have, baseball players have, hockey players have, golfers have, tennis players have, but not football. To play for your country. I understand why they would want to go out there. I think all of them are going to want to play, and it's flag football. You're not going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt in training camp much more often than that. And the NFL is essentially sponsoring the notion of flag football. I heard today that Serena Williams wants to buy a flag football franchise. So this all dovetails nicely. What you can do, the Olympics is a